Holy crap.
Like me.
What's up, everyone? Elden Ring Nightreign was just announced at the Game Awards out of nowhere. I follow Fromsoftware news very closely since that's a major portion of what I cover on my channel, and I had no idea something like this was coming, and I don't think anybody really did. I didn't think anybody really thought this was on the table as being a possibility. But regardless, it happened, and I have a ton of thoughts about what this means, what Miyazaki is up to since he isn't the one directing this project, the Game of the Year winner, and all the other games that were announced. Virtual Fighter. But that's not what you're here for. Let's get into the trailer and talk about everything I have noticed, as well as what I've been able to find after scouring the internet and watching the trailer over and over again. So first off, if Miyazaki isn't directing this, although he was involved in the early concept stage of development, but if he isn't the one directing it, who is? So the game is being directed by Junya Ishizaki. He has been with Fromsoftware since Dark Souls 1, where he was a level designer. He was also a level designer and combat designer for Bloodborne, as well as a combat designer for Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring. So for everyone that is worried about the new direction, or maybe even upset, first off, it's Fromsoftware. They have a long history of absolute excellence. Seriously, like, when is the last time FromSoft made a bad game? And don't say Dark Souls 2. Stop it. Look, if there is a studio that has earned the right to be given the benefit of the doubt when it comes to design decisions and concepts, it's FromSoftware. So have faith, lowly tarnished. But secondly, Ishizaki has been heavily involved in almost all of the Soulsborne games, working right alongside Miyazaki himself. And Miyazaki seems to trust him and believe in this project enough to give him full reign. Now, this is a different concept. It's not going to be the same as Elden Ring is. This has been confirmed from Ishizaki himself in multiple different interviews that this game is a new formula they are trying out, and while it builds on the lore and mechanics of Elden Ring, it is also very different. But something tells me this will be yet another banger, and the more I research it, the more excited I get. Now let's get into some of the key moments of the trailer and what I've been able to find out about them. So right off the bat, the first couple of shots are of the new world, which seems to resemble Limgrave. But in a recently released interview, Ishizaki has confirmed that this is a completely new area based off of Limgrave, but it's called Limveld. The next thing is this mysterious blue wall and flame that seems to be enclosing, and we now know that this is like an acid rain that serves to slowly decrease the map size, similar to a battle royale game. Another thing we know is that Nightreign has a 3-day structure. So when you start a play session, you will begin on day 1. And as the day progresses and the night encroaches, the acid rain will make the map smaller until it reaches a certain point at nightfall, and you fight the boss for that night. Then day 2 begins and the cycle repeats, with the final boss taking place at the end of day 3. Now, in the next couple shots, we will see several interesting things. Number one is the speed that the player is running. This is a common theme throughout the trailer, and it seems to point towards a much faster pace to this game. Which makes sense because you are looking at a playthrough taking roughly 45 minutes versus a 40 to 50 hour playthrough. So you are going to need to get around the map a little quicker. Also, there is that giant bird thing. When I first saw it, I was like, okay, they are going to replace Torrent with a hawk. But after some research, I was able to find out that these hawks will only be at specific locations and fly to predetermined spots on the map. So it's not going to be like the glider from Breath of the Wild. Next, we get our first glimpse of some of the playable characters and their abilities. In this game, there will be a total of 8 playable characters, so there is no character creation. Instead, you will pick from 8 different heroes. Right now, we only know a little about 4 of them from early playtesters. Now, keep in mind these names could change by the final release, but from what I've been able to find, the one right there in front is named Wilder. He is kind of the classic Dark Souls looking knight, but he has like this cool grappling hook ability. The one in the back right is the Duchess. She is equipped with a magical dagger and dodges with a quick sidestep instead of a roll like the others. She also has a really powerful ability that re-deals the damage to an enemy of the last attack that hit them. The one on the left is the Guardian. He is like a bird-human hybrid. He is the one who you see fly up in the air and do the big smash attack. Now, the fourth one isn't in the trailer from what I can find, but playtesters say that it is a mage type called the Recluse, who is much more frail than the rest, but has the ability to absorb elements from enemies, and then after absorbing enough, it can then unleash a big attack. So each of these characters have unique abilities, ultimate attacks, and backgrounds, and as you play, you can strengthen your character, as well as find and uncover lore related to that character's specific backstory. Also, the enemy they are fighting looks a lot like the Centipede Demon. I'm not 100% sure yet, but it seems like that might be it. The next sequence of shots has a lot to unpack. First, we see a familiar enemy, which seems to be a Knight of Zamor from the Mountaintops of the Giants. But the next thing is what seems to be a Firekeeper from Dark Souls 3. You can see the iconic eye mask. It hasn't been confirmed, but it looks to me like that's what it is. The next big thing we see is an example of Nightraign's reviving mechanic. So in Nightreign, you can revive fallen teammates, but instead of getting close to them and holding down a button in the traditional way, you instead just hit them. And you can do this through melee, ranged spells, or AoE. So it looks like the Guardian doing his big swooping ultimate attack is what revives his downed companion. Next we see some more of the Spectral Hawk, but then some awesome new traversal options in the form of wall running. And this animation looks very similar to Sekiro's wall run animation, and this again seems to be highlighting the pace that they want you to play and move around the world at. Next is a big revelation that has everybody talking. Yes, that is the Nameless King from Dark Souls 3. And according to Ishizaki, the Nameless King won't be the only boss from the Dark Souls series to be incorporated into Nightreign. We don't know what other bosses from what other games we will see, but we now know that they are merging the two series together. We just don't know how far they are taking it and if the lore will also be merged as well. Next is a quick sequence, but it's awesome. Take a look at the way he parries those attacks. That is a Sekiro parry if I've ever seen one. That is also another one of the playable characters we don't know much about besides him giving off samurai vibes and hitting the Sekiro parry. Now we get a look at what seems to be a new boss. This thing is a dragon, but with a sideways mouth, which is really cool. But then we also get a look at the sixth and final character to make an appearance in the trailer. This guy is an archer type character. We don't know much outside of the footage that you see, but I will say it's gonna be awesome to have an archery based character since bows always seem to be more of a secondary in Souls games. But you can see he has some kind of mega shot ability. I don't know, I'm really excited to try this guy out. Okay, so as I was about to upload this, I noticed something else that I just had to add in. Who is this guy? He's obviously working with the Guardian, so it has to be another hero. So is this one of the two we don't know about, a beefy barbarian type hero? I don't know, but I saw it and I just had to add it in, so back to the video. The next shot we see is the Duchess standing in what looks like the round table hold, although it's unclear at this time if it's the actual round table hold or a spin-off of some kind. This thing is another new boss or enemy, I believe. I don't recognize it from anywhere else, so leave a comment if I'm wrong about this. In the next series of shots, we see what the playtesters say was the final boss of their playthrough, named Cerberus. This boss is just absolutely sick looking. It kind of resembles Sif or the Red Wolf of Radagon, but with obvious differences, of course, and the ability to split into three. I can't wait to clap those cheeks, though. And in the final shots, there is this big, ominous looking door that, judging by the dialogue in the trailer, houses the Night Lord, which I would assume is the final boss of the entire game, and probably has something to do with the Night Tide / Acid Rain and just the overall story. Hopefully we get more details soon, because I'm absolutely stoked for this new take on Elden Ring's universe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.